Welcome to the world of Wii U. It's infinitely complex and yet perfectly simple.
I'm really looking forward to new styles of play in ways we haven't thought of yet.
It does absolutely everything you could want.
It's a phenomenal piece of technology.
Nintendo sort of heard the voices of the hardcore gamer.
This is exactly what it takes to shape the future, shape the future, shape the future, shape the future, shape the future.
Well, I'd say that just about settles that. Where the heck have you been? I don't remember, but it doesn't matter anyway. I got an E3 video I need to do. Hey, didn't there used to be a bigger TV over there?
No.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about E3, everybody! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year yet again. You've seen the conferences, you saw the games, you saw the dudes in business suits being all like, yes, so we aim to give you innovative gameplay experiences. So anyway, here's a shooter game with some zombies in it, because you haven't seen that in a million other games before. Innovation! And with this event, naturally comes my review of one of the conferences, which I of course do a few months after E3 has already ended, because writing scripts is hard, guys. I apologize that I wasn't able to make an E3 video last year, but to be perfectly honest, last year's E3 was sorta uneventful. There really wasn't anything worth mentioning in last year's E3 outside of maybe the new Star Fox, and the things that were worth mentioning at last year's E3 were kind of, that. And even if I wanted to do a review of one of the conferences last year, I couldn't really do one anyway. Because somebody thought it'd be a funny idea to infect my high-tech Alienware PC with some viruses.
Oh, give it a rest already. You got your computer back, so how about you man up and you just let it go already? And I swear, if you start singing that accursed song, I will put all risks of being exposed to the ACT aside, and I will literally end you.
Waggle gimmick.
Twig bones.
Anyways, let's not waste any more time. We're going to be looking at Sony's conference this year because they finally learned that if you mix a variety of different games in your conference, instead of only showing dark and gritty games, you won't bore your audience completely out of their minds. So let's not drag this introduction out any longer because I kind of have a bad habit of doing that apparently, and let's just go ahead and jump right in. This is Sony's E3 2016 press conference. So the conference opens up, and we see this rather fancy-looking theater-type area, which, I've gotta say, looks like a pretty cool place to hold a video game press conference. Yeah, woo, yeah, oh man, yeah. Yeah, you go! Whoever that guy is... Okay, are you gonna do anything, or are you just gonna stand there? Because I'm already a good minute into this video game press conference, and so far I haven't seen any video games yet. What was that? What did you just do? Did some guy just burp into the microphone or something?
Yeah.
Something better happen soon, guys. I'm starting to get a little creeped out here. I have no idea what's even going on. Why are you guys clapping? He hasn't even done anything yet! Okay, well, eventually something does actually happen, as we officially start up this conference with a really epic-sounding orchestra. Not only is it a good way to get everyone pumped up for what's to come, but it also serves as a good way to segue into the first game to be announced at this conference. And I know I made fun of this conductor guy earlier, but I will admit I actually kinda like him already. I'm assuming this is like a very well-known guy, which is why the audience was going nuts over him earlier, despite him doing literally nothing. except have one guy burp into the microphone. Yeah. But regardless of that, if that's really the case, I can see why people like this guy so much. I mean, aside from the fact that the music he composes sounds awesome, look at this guy's face. Look at how into it he is. I love it. So overall, I'd say this is a pretty awesome way to start off the conference. Although, I will say this, and I don't want to sound mean or anything, but admittedly, it does start to get a little weird towards the middle when this lady pops up and she starts making these weird noises with her mouth while making faces that give me rather uncomfortable flashbacks to the facial flex lady. But aside from that, it was a pretty good way to start things off. Now at this point, you'll probably think to yourself, man, this orchestra sounds really awesome and all, but what does this have to do with video games? Well, my friends, I'll tell you, because believe it or not, there is actually a reason why they start the conference this way. You see, this guy is actually composing a soundtrack to one of the games shown in this conference, and as it turns out, that very same game is the first one that we're going to see. The demo begins with a little boy playing with some action figures of, Aku from Samurai Jack and Flash from Zootopia, when his father calls him inside to prepare to go hunting. And as this mysterious man slowly comes out of the shadows, we see that the little boy's father is none other than the one, the only, Kratos. I have many questions. Now, I'm no expert of the God of War series. In fact, I've never even played any of the games. I've only watched a few gameplay videos of it. But I do know the basic plot of the series. Basically how something went down between Zeus and Kratos, and how he wants to get revenge on Zeus. And then we learn that Zeus turned evil because of some dark force that started to take control of him, and it had something to do with this magic sword that this lady wants for some reason. But Kratos didn't want any part of that nonsense, so he used the sword himself to sap its power or something, and I think there was something about giving people hope in there somewhere. Basically, the point I'm getting at is that Kratos is supposed to be dead right now. Why isn't Kratos dead right now? I mean, like I said, I've never played any of the God of War games, so like, is there something I'm missing? Was there an important plot detail I missed that explains how he's able to survive a sword to the gut? Because if so, please somebody tell me, because if that's a real thing he's able to survive, then this guy is a legend. Okay, well, enough about that. Let's talk about how the actual game looks, and it certainly looks like a AAA game. It certainly looks a lot less action-packed than previous God of War games, for sure, and whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing is entirely up to you guys. There was this one part there where Kratos and his kid got to fight this giant troll monster, and that was admittedly kind of cool to see. Oh yeah, and then there was this part. That was awesome. Now, as for the question, am I going to get this game when it's released? I'm not really sure, honestly. I mean, seeing them fight that troll was pretty cool, but other than that, it just looks like a standard AAA game. I know that sounds a bit confusing, but I'll try to explain a bit more during the next game that gets shown, because oh boy. So after they get done showing that, Shawn Layden comes on stage to tell us about some stuff. What the heck happened there? He looked so confused there for a second. Whoa, where am I? So Shawn walks off stage and we get a trailer for our next game, Days Gone, which is just Okay, so about the wording I used when I was describing how the new God of War game looked to me, this applies to this game so much that it's almost physically painful. Here, just watch some of this trailer for me and see if you can see what I'm talking about.
Someone asked me once if I remembered how it all went down, as if it happened so long ago that anyone could forget. I remember when our homes and our towns turned into graveyards. I remember when they put up the razor wire, like it was gonna stop anything. Now I'm a drifter, a bounty hunter, a mercenary. And for me...
Is this game edgy enough for you? Now, I'm gonna kind of cheat here and skip to the very end of the conference for just a second, because they do show some actual gameplay for this game at the end, and once again, it looks like a standard AAA game. I'd even go as far as to say it's a generic AAA game. Oh man, look at this, guys. It's an open world game that takes place in a post-apocalyptic future that stars a brooding protagonist who uses third-person shooter mechanics to defeat hordes of zombies and... Do you see what I'm talking about now? My gosh, I'm getting so sick of seeing games like these. Look, I get it. You guys can make games that takes place in a dark, gritty, and realistic setting. Cool. Great job. You've done a successful job on that front. But you don't need to do that for every single game that comes out. Why is it that every AAA game that comes out these days has to have some form of zombies in them? Or have third-person shooter mechanics be the only real gameplay mechanic you use to advance? Games like these is why I've been turning my attention to the indie scene lately. Because indie developers seem to be the only game developers left who understands that you don't have to give your game ultra-realistic graphics or mechanics in order to make it fun. What happened to the days of platformers or adventure games? Heck, even racing games I'm starting to miss at this point. Games that were good because they relied on simple, fun, or interesting and unique gameplay mechanics. Sure, these games are still around, but they're nowhere near as frequent as these games are. Why can't the AAA market just make a game like... yeah, like this game. This game was actually announced a while ago, but I only just now heard about it in this conference. I figured out that this was a game that a lot of people are excited about, because when the game's release date came up, everyone went crazy about it. Thing is though, there wasn't any gameplay shown in this trailer, so I was kinda left out of the loop here. So I went ahead and I looked up some gameplay footage of this game to see what all the fuss is about. And I've gotta say, it actually looks quite interesting. Let me ask you something, boys and girls. Have you ever wanted to play a game where you own a giant dog, bird, lemur, goat, thing? Well, now you can. Now, from the looks of it, it looks like this is going to be a sort of puzzle game which revolves around this creature and the little boy having to work together to overcome obstacles. There may be a little bit of combat in there, since one of the trailers does show enemies that you'll be encountering later on, but aside from that, it looks like this game is going to be mostly puzzle-based, which is great. Just make sure you don't throw in any slider puzzles in there, and we'll get along just fine. Seriously, don't throw in any slider puzzles in this game, okay? I seriously can't stand those things. I'll make sure this boy has a bad time if they do. But in all seriousness, I'm definitely going to keep a close eye on this game. And if I ever do get around to getting a PS4, I'll be sure to check it out. Next, they show a gameplay demo of Horizon Zero Dawn, which in my opinion is probably the second most interesting game shown in this conference. I know I just went on a tangent about how sick I am of these ultra-realistic and dark and gritty AAA games and stuff, and this game does definitely have some of those typical AAA game tropes in there, but this one looks way more unique than most AAA games, and I'm definitely digging the direction that this game's heading. The premise of this game goes like this. I might mess up some stuff here, since this is one of those weird, there's futuristic machines in a prehistoric-esque world type of stories, but this is the story as I understand it. It starts off by saying, the world of the old ones ended ages ago. So my guess is that there used to be a more futuristic setting in this world, but something happened that wiped out all the people and stuff, so now everything is sort of reset back to when people were in villages and all that. But the machines managed to survive whatever went down, so that's why they're still walking around. But hey, that's just the theory. Okay, theory. As for the game itself, it actually looks quite interesting. I'm definitely into it. I really like how the combat looks in this game. It seems to rely less on you and the enemy just shooting each other until one of you drops dead. For one, enemies actually seem to have an attack pattern that you have to learn and recognize in order to avoid them. And second, you have to attack the enemies in their weak points in order to do a significant amount of damage. Yeah, it's been ages since I've seen a game where you have to beat enemies using weak points. I know that sounds like a minor thing, but it's something that seems to show up so rarely in games these days. The only game series I can think of that still does this is the Zelda series. On top of that, red-haired chick actually has quite the arsenal of her own. And yes, as far as I'm aware, this girl's name hasn't been revealed yet, so until it is, I'm just gonna call her red-haired chick. or RHC if you prefer the shortened version. Anyway, RHC can craft different items to help her in battles using the pieces she gathers from enemies that she's defeated. Obviously, crafting is nothing new to the gaming world, but I will say the weapons that she does create, and even the weapons she already has on her at all times, are actually pretty cool. Some notable ones are this tether crossbow thing, which RHC can use to trap enemies and give her an opening to attack, as well as this rod, which she can use to take control of the enemies, and give her the ability to ride on some of them so she can get from location to location a lot faster. It's pretty cool stuff. The only negative thing I have to say about this game so far, and it's really a minor negative, it doesn't really affect the gameplay at all, but the one negative I have to say is that the animations look a bit weird, mostly on the human characters. I mean, they look fine when you're actually playing the game, but it's mostly when you start talking to people when they look a bit weird. I don't know, there's something about the animations that play when you're talking to people that just looks a bit off to me.
Come with me, or the demon will kill you.
I don't believe in demons, and I don't run when lives are at stake. Get out of here.
Because doesn't everybody carry out their conversations like this?
You're crazy!
Oh, well, you're welcome, buddy. Not like you just saved your life or anything. Better not get muted. Yeah, I shouldn't have playing this game. I'm gonna get down and give him a good spanking. So overall, I can safely say that this game is going on my list of PS4 games that I want to get. Not a very big list, as you can see, but it's on there. I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out when it's released. Didn't I just scream Xbox? Dude, I think you might be at the wrong conference. So the next game that they show is a game called Detroit Becomes Human. And when I say game, I should clarify. This is an interactive story. You know, it's one of those games where the most gameplay you get to do is press a button to decide which cutscene you want to watch. There does seem to be a little bit of gameplay in this one, where you get to do crime investigations, but aside from that, it's just another interactive story game. I don't want to get into a huge discussion about this genre of game right now, since I'm actually waiting to share my thoughts on them in a different review I'm thinking about doing. But for now, just say I'm pretty much gonna skip this one. Then they show a teaser for a new Resident Evil game, which I don't really care about because I don't like horror games. Then they showed a bunch of VR games without really showing any gameplay to them. They were just kind of like, yeah, our new VR headset is really cool. You should buy it. Oh, by the way, here's some games that are coming out for it. We don't have any gameplay to show you. We just wanted to remind you that they're coming. Thanks. Then they showed a new gameplay trailer for the new Final Fantasy. I think it's Final Fantasy 15... 14, I kind of lost track, to be honest. But anyway, you guys might remember that I actually talked about this game already when it was first announced at Sony's 2013 E3 conference, and I was talking about how it looks really cool, and I'm thinking about getting it. And I still stand by that. This game still looks like it'll be a really good game. I'm not sure what else I can really say about it that I haven't already said in my review of Sony's 2013 E3 conference. I like the cool teleporting mechanic, the game looks very exciting and action-packed. It just looks like an all-around really good game. And it has a release date finally, so that's really awesome. Still can't get it though. I still don't have a PS4 yet, but when I do get one, this game will be on my list for sure. So next they show a gameplay demo for a space-related game, and I'm not gonna lie, the first 3 minutes or so of this demo did actually look kinda interesting. You have a cool looking computer that serves as a map screen so you can pick your next objective. There's a pretty awesome space battle you get to do. It actually looks quite promising. Then the guy steps out of a spaceship and it immediately turns into a generic first-person shooter game. It was kinda weird, seeing a potentially cool looking idea quickly turn to something so generic, but then the game's title appears on screen and it all suddenly made sense. I doubt this will really surprise anybody, but... So the next game they announce is... That music! I recognize this music, but... It couldn't be. Why? The last I've heard such a tune was during the great universal crash of 2001. No pun intended. The great Naughty Dog and Insomniac surrendered the rights to their beloved franchise to Universal. It was a dark time indeed, and only grew darker when even they lost the rights to those franchises, and soon landed in the sinister hands of Activision, where they soon turned Spyro into whatever the heck this abomination is. And ever since then, he's forever been tied down to the cash grab series known as Skylanders. But Crash was never heard from again for over 8 years now. And ever since then, we have been waiting, longing, praying for a new Crash game to come out. But Activision, they never gave us what the fans wanted. But now, with this one music cue, a ray of hope has shined down on us yet again for the wacky Bandicoot's return to finally arrive. So come forth, Sean Layden, and answer this question for us. Will you be the one to finally answer our prayers? Yes, at long last, the prophecy has been fulfilled!
I'm proud to announce we're going to bring back...
Yes, Sean, tell us what we've been wanting to hear. Tell us about this brand new, fully original Crash game that we've been waiting for so long.
The original Crash, Crash 2, and Crash Warped, fully remastered from the ground up for PlayStation 4.
Sorry, what?
Crash Bandicoot will also appear first, though, in Skylanders Imaginators. So let's have a look at that. What have I got?
Oh yeah? Jelly this. Hey, Daddy-o, do you by any chance know where my blaster is? Because I sort of need it to do a thing. It's kind of important.
Yeah, give me a second.
What the heck are you doing, you half-wit? You're gonna get us all killed!
How could they do this to us? We've been waiting years for a new Crash game, and they sent them in Skylanders and give us remasters.
Well, it would seem that this joke has gone a bit overboard. Hey, Game Master, wake up. You're missing the rest of the conference. Well, the conference is almost over anyway. Hopefully he remembers everything else that happens.
Well, that certainly could have turned out a lot better. Didn't make it to the end of the review. Well, whatever. There wasn't that much left to discuss anyway. Like the announcement of the new LEGO Star Wars game that's coming out based on the Star Wars Episode 7 movie. Although the way they announced this game is kinda weird. Like, they pretty much announced this game right when they've already finished making it. Don't believe me? Just look at this trailer where they're basically all like, yeah, so here's the game, it's kinda like the movie, but with Legos and a lot more comedy and stuff. It's really cool, I think you guys will like it a lot, and oh yeah, by the way, the game comes out in 2 weeks.
May the force be with you.
So aside from that bizarre little aspect to the announcement, I'm sure the game will still be pretty good. A lot of the Lego games usually turn out well, so I don't see how this one will be any different. So after that trailer ends, Andrew House comes on stage. Finally, a familiar face. Please tell me he's not going to ramble on about TV features on the PS4 again.
I think you'll agree that this E3 marks one of the strongest lineups of content in PlayStation history.
Stronger lineup, I suppose. I don't think I'd go as far as to say it's one of your strongest lineups. Whoa, gosh! Okay, everyone stand back, everybody! Kojima has entered the building! Oh gosh, he's found me. I gotta get out of here, dude! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Kojima is back and he's here to announce a brand new game that he's been working on. Actually, from what I understand, this is actually a revival of a previous game that Kojima was working on, before KONAMI decided to cancel it like a huge buttface.
He was informed by a lawyer representing KONAMI just recently that he would not be allowed to accept any awards.
You monsters. Anyway, the game that's being revived was a horror game, and if this game is still going to be that, then I'm most likely going to pass on it. But I will say, this trailer is actually very well made. You have this guy stranded on an island holding this baby, and he's all emotionally distraught and stuff, and I'm just all like, hey man, hang in there, it's gonna be alright. Then the baby vanishes for some reason, or rather turns invisible and crawls away. Then we see a bunch of floating figures in the sky. Then the trailer ends. It's a really well-made trailer, and it got me interested as to what the story of this game is going to be like. I still don't think I'll actually play it if it is still going to be a horror game, but the story does seem like it'll be interesting, as most of Kojima's games usually are. I've never actually played any of his games, which I probably should, to be honest, but I have heard a lot about this guy, and I do have a lot of respect for him. He seems to have a genuine passion for what he does, which I really like. So even though I most likely won't play this game in particular, seeing that Kojima is still pushing forward with newer projects even after all the crud he had to go through with KONAMI recently was still very nice to see. So at long last, we reached the end of the conference, and we wrap things up with a trailer for a game that I honestly wasn't expecting to see at this event at all. There's apparently a new Spider-Man game coming out, and it looks really awesome. Well, okay, the trailer looks awesome. I don't think there's any actual gameplay shown here yet. But I'm still really excited for this game. And you know why that is? Because this isn't just a Spider-Man game we're seeing. This is a Spider-Man game being developed by the legendary Insomniac. That's right, you heard me correctly. This game is being created by the same guys behind the Spyro the Dragon and Ratchet & Clank series. This caught me completely by surprise. I didn't expect Insomniac to be the type of company to try to make games based on other franchises, but you know what? I'm quite intrigued by this. Outside of a couple of Ratchet & Clank games that weren't received very well, Insomniac has a pretty awesome track record. They really haven't made that many bad games. So I'm quite interested in seeing what ideas they have for this new Spider-Man game that they're working on. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of this game when they release more info on it. And I think this is a great note to end the conference on. But Game Master, didn't they show a gameplay demo of Days Gone after this trailer? Nope, don't care. This Spider-Man trailer is the true ending of the conference as far as I'm concerned. And that wraps up Sony's E3 2016 press conference. Overall, I'd say this conference was pretty good. I still don't think it was great, but they definitely showed some good-looking games that I'm actually interested in, which is more than I can say about their 2014 E3 conference. One thing that I took notice to that I think really helped this conference in the long run is that most of it was just spent just showing the games. You probably noticed in this video that there really weren't a lot of moments where people came on stage to segue into each game. And it's not because I've cut a lot of those parts out, although I did cut one or two out just to save time. It's because they're just simply wasn't a lot of talking moments. There weren't a lot of parts where guys in business suits came on stage and were all like, yes, so we aim to give you innovative gameplay experiences. So anyway, here's a shooter game with some zombies in it. Oh wait, I made that joke already. But yeah, most of those moments were kind of pushed off to the side for the most part. They still have a few moments where they just stand around and talk, but they're all kept really brief, and then they just hang back and let the gameplay trailers and demos do the rest of the talking for them. That, I think, was a very smart move on their part. Focus less on talking and more on just showing us the games in action. The way it should be, in my opinion. Overall, I'd say this E3 conference was good. Just good. Would I say they've won E3 this year? I don't know. I didn't really watch the other conferences because I don't really care about what they have to offer. And seeing as how Nintendo didn't even do a conference this year, they just streamed the new Zelda game all day, I don't think they won E3 this year either. How about I leave it up to you guys? Who do you think won E3 this year, you people in my head? I'm still unconscious, am I? And more importantly, what did you think about Sony's conference as well as E3 as a whole? Let me know what you think about all of these things in the comments below. And, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. See you later, everyone. And print it. Thanks. I smacked myself in the face.
I know.
They do another one where that doesn't happen. Really? Doing that now? So how are you guys? Basically how something went down between Zeus and Kratos, and he wants to get revenge on Zeus, and not Zeus. No. This isn't Gravity Falls, darn it.
All right, buddy. It's time to... What the heck happened here?
It's nothing. The weak-minded one simply had another mental breakdown.
Yeah, I can see that. Look at this mess. The whole place is ruined.
Do not worry. In the end, it won't even matter anyway.
Yeah, I'd say you're right. I've taken care of all the preparations. If Game Master's ready, I'd say we're ready to go. What do you think?
Yes. He's ready.